Welcome back to Brandon Sports, everybody. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm here to give you guys my Monday Night Raw review for March 30th, 2026. Before we get into the review, guys, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. Please share with your friends and family so we help the channel continue to grow. Now, before we get into the show, Monday Night Raw was live tonight from Madison Square Garden in New York City. The show and the rundown goes as follows. We see Intercontinental Champion Penta versus the New Day's Kofi Kingston. We saw Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. We saw the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match, the Irresistible Forces, Nia Jax and the Boujee Bully Lash Legend versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria. Also, we see WWE World Tag Team Championship match in the New York City street fight, the Usos, Jay and Jimmy versus the Visions, Austin Theory and the Maverick, Logan Paul. We'll hear from the Prince, Finn Bálor. The Beast Incarnate Brock Lesnar will return on Monday Night Raw tonight. WWE World Heavyweight Champion, the best in the world, CM Punk, and the OTC, Roman Reigns, will be all under one roof. Now, my thoughts about this entire show was I liked the first hour of the show. It wasn't great. It was decent to me, but the rest of the show after that, for the second hour and a half, was completely just dry and garbage to me. Even the main event segment between CM Punk and Roman Reigns, which we'll get there, and the reason why I'm so critical of it, because it's pretty much the same thing every single week between these two guys, because they just don't want to tell a story anymore. But we'll get to the entire rundown. But this show for me tonight, I thought it's the same show as last week. I thought it's a repeat of last week with a lot of the stuff that they do. And there's one thing that I wanted to give a shout out to was Coach and Bro with Jonathan Coachman and Vince Russo. And they were talking about how it's the same stuff every single week. And I'm going to read this to you, a quote by the Coach and Bro. And they discussed heavily on what they see in the lack of meaningful stories heading into WrestleMania. Jonathan Coachman pointed out that the matches appear to be getting added without strong angles behind them, warning that the real build-up, the card risk feeling hollow. They're going to throw matches out there to fill that number that have no storylines or no juice whatsoever. Then Vince Russo then doubled down, arguing that the weekly television leading into WrestleMania has been built around the same repeated segments instead of layered storytelling. He claimed the formula has become predictable, relying mostly on confrontations rather than developing long-term narratives. He said that's filler. 7 matches, Triple H is saying 7 matches are filler. If we don't have these matches at this point in time, then that is filler. Coach, listen, I'm watching highlights of both of these shows. There are 2 things that they're doing, either a brawl or a face-to-face promo. That's it. That's the road to WrestleMania. There is not one single story. It's either a brawl or we're going to have a face-to-face promo. That is it. And now you're going to have 7 matches that are going to be nothing but filler. And I couldn't agree more. This entire show is the same show every single week. It was a decent first hour, but other than that, the second hour and a half was the same thing every week. The same thing with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. We see the same openings to the show. No pyro. The stage sets feel lackluster. It's very, very small. Now, people are going to say, well, they made those stage designs because in 2024, when they were selling out every single arena, they had people behind the set so people can actually see. And the one thing that I would say is, well, that's fine. But still make the show look great. The one thing I miss about Vince McMahon being in WWE, and not the fact that he's no longer obviously in charge of creative, because I do not miss that at all. I'm glad he's gone from creative. But the presentation of WWE shouldn't matter. The Raw and SmackDown shows are supposed to be on different brands. They look the same. The backgrounds are the same. The sets are the same. Everything that happens on these shows are the same. And there's no storytelling. Going into this year's WrestleMania, the only storytelling that we're getting is Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes. Other than that, every other single match on this card has not been good storytelling, or they're not telling a story at all. So far for WrestleMania 42's card, we have CM Punk and Roman Reigns. That's the first match that's basically listed on here. Now, we'll get to this segment later on in the show, but for me, I just don't care about it anymore because it's the same stuff every single week. We have Stephanie Valkyria versus Liv Morgan. To me, there is no story there. Stephanie Valkyria talked about getting it out of the mud, and she's hiding behind Dominic. Dominic wasn't even there tonight, which is crazy, unless it was during a commercial break, because I didn't see it throughout the show. You get Stephanie Valkyria versus Liv Morgan. There's no storytelling. She insults her mother. She's saying all this different stuff. I mean, it's just looks like a cat fight out there. There's no story behind this. Stephanie Valkyria's story, yes, but there's no story behind Liv Morgan in the situation. To me, her winning the Royal Rumble was just, it should never happen. She should just win the Elimination Chamber, and they should just have Rhea Ripley win the Royal Rumble if that's the case. There's no story in this match. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton's only story. Jay Cargill versus Rhea Ripley. That story is not going great. Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. These guys get in the ring basically yelling at each other, and he's challenging him to step up. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch is tired and played out, and nobody cares about it. The only reason why we care is because AJ Lee is back, and to me, by having her continuously go after Becky Lynch is wearing out her welcome back in the company. I'm just being honest. Sami Zayn versus Trick Williams, there is no story there. You could say, well, Trick Williams and Sami Zayn were going back and forth for weeks on SmackDown. There's no story there. They put the belt on Sami Zayn for absolutely no reason. It should have never been put on him. Carmelo Hayes should have kept the championship. And even Trick Williams said that, basically commended him for having the championship and what he did with the championship, and just for the company to take that away from him and put it on Sami Zayn means absolutely nothing, and the crowd was booing him, and I don't blame him. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre, yes, is that a decent story? Yes, it's a decent story, but the matter of fact is it's an unsanctioned match. That's one match I don't like. Why is it unsanctioned at WrestleMania? You might as well put him in another Sin City street fight like you did last year with Damian Priest. An unsanctioned match at WrestleMania? Come on, like a lights out match or something like that. Nobody wants to see an unsanctioned match. We'd rather have something else. Give us something else than just an unsanctioned match. It's basically a no rules match if that's the case. And if it's unsanctioned, then what the hell is the point of putting it on WrestleMania? Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Bálor is not, to me, there is no more story in the match. Because Dominic Mysterio, he's not on Raw, and then Finn Balor's backstage cutting a promo when the story is, you kicked me out of my group. This is why I said the IC title should have remained on Dominic Mysterio, because it gives Finn Balor something to gun for. Yes, you kicked me out of my group, but now that you took something away from me, I can take something away from you. Then you have Penta. During tonight's show, here's a spoiler before we get into the actual show. Penta announced that he would be in a ladder match at WrestleMania for the IC title. This is why I said I did not want this to happen. Because they're going to put people on the card who don't deserve to be on the WrestleMania card. No disrespect to Dragon Lee. I'm not watching WrestleMania to see Dragon Lee. I'm not watching WrestleMania to see Jaden McDonough. No disrespect. I'm not seeing WrestleMania to see Rusev and Javon Evans. Okay, fine. You could just did Penta versus Javon Evans or did something else in this matter. Why on God's green earth are we having Penta versus Dragon Lee versus Jaden McDonough versus Javon Evans versus Rusev? That's 6 people who have no storylines going into WrestleMania. This is why I said Penta did not need the IC title and Dominic Mysterio should have kept it. What's the point? There is no point of having a multi-man match, and it's a ladder match on top of that. It's just, it's lack of story. It's filling up matches on WrestleMania that don't need to be there. It could have been Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor in a ladder match for the IC title with the story of kicking him out of Judgment Day. He walks in cocky and braggadocious into WrestleMania, and then we get the Demon back at WrestleMania to win the IC title and to beat Dominic Mysterio, and we legitimize or bring back legitimacy to Finn Balor and his Demon character, because when Vince McMahon was there, he messed all of it up. Then you have the Irresistible Forces, Lash, Legend, Nia Jax versus Bliss and Charlotte Flair versus Bayley and Lyra Valkyria versus the Bella Twins. We all know the Bella Twins should win at WrestleMania. The company's letting Lash, Legend, and Nia Jax walk into WrestleMania as champions because they've been pushing them hard on SmackDown. That's fine. But the Bella Twins, they should win this. They're going to win this, and they should win it to give them their moment for what they've done in the business since basically being in the company since 2008 or 2009. So they need to put the belts on them. So we'll get to that. And then the last match, which is a little spoiler alert before we get to the actual show, is Seth Rollins versus Gunther. And this has no story at all. This is another filler match. Again, the tag team match with the women is very, very sloppy, and it's been sloppy. And by the way, I'm just not calling out the women for being sloppy. I call out the men for being sloppy too. But these 4 teams have been very, very sloppy throughout this entire build to WrestleMania. Seth Rollins versus Gunther makes absolutely no sense. Most of this card is predictable and pretty much boring, and I'm being honest. I know that was just a nice little monologue at the beginning, but I'm not. Listen, the WrestleMania card is looking pretty good matchup wise, but storyline wise, there is no substance to a lot of these matches. So are the matches going to be good? Yes, but what about the stories heading into WrestleMania? That's the part that this company is missing, and it's the same thing every single week. We open the show tonight, Monday Night Raw. Michael Cole and Corey Graves welcome us to the show. We see the rivals of CM Punk, the Irresistible Forces, and Obafemi. We then get a shot of the crowd walking into the crowd at MSG, and we head to ringside. Cody Rhodes' music then hits, and he makes his way down to the ring, and the crowd sings along with his theme song. The crowd then cheers as Cody enters the ring to a pose as Cody chants break out, and you guys microphone before asking the MSG crowd what they want to talk about. We then get a big pop from the crowd, but Cody is cut off by the music of Stephanie McMahon. We then get a big reaction from Stephanie McMahon, everybody cheering for Stephanie McMahon as she makes her way down to the ring while commentary talks about upcoming Hall of Fame induction. Cody then is surprised to see her. Stephanie then tells Cody he shouldn't be surprised to see her because her name is Stephanie McMahon, but that doesn't hold to me, no disrespect to Stephanie McMahon, that doesn't hold any weight because your family doesn't own the company anymore. It doesn't hold any weight. So yeah, we are surprised to see you because even if your last name is McMahon, your family no longer owns the company. And this is the house that her grandfather built. Cody then asked Stephanie what does she want to talk about. Stephanie then says she wants to talk to Cody about Randy and WrestleMania. She then says Cody will not like what she has to say. Stephanie then says, you talked about where you used to sit at center stage and conversations with her, and Stephanie points out where she sat in MSG. Stephanie then says she, Cody, and Randy are multi-generational stars. Stephanie then says they have all taken different paths to get where they are. Stephanie then says, you chose to take the golden path. Stephanie then says, you stay true to yourself and you believe you can bring the best out of people and your opponents. Stephanie then says, you can't this time with this version of Randy Orton. Stephanie then says, this version of Randy Orton is diabolical. Stephanie then follows up by saying, you don't have to be diabolical, but you have to think like that. She goes on to say, you have to think like Randy Orton. She says, your father knew better than anybody. Stephanie says that Dusty could get down and dirty with the best of them. Stephanie then says Cody is not his father. Stephanie then says this version of Cody Rhodes cannot beat this version of Randy Orton. Stephanie then says you have no idea who you're dealing with. Then after that, Cody Rhodes goes on to say the last thing he would ever want to be is rude to Stephanie, but he does know who Randy Orton is. Cody then says he knows all about Randy. Cody then says the youngest champion in history and alleged killer. Cody then says he did things so vile that cannot be shown on television today, and a lot that has to do with you. If you guys don't remember, he basically punted. I think he punted Shane and he punted Triple H, and I don't know if he punted Stephanie McMahon. I forgot about that part, but I know that he did basically get down and kiss her while Triple H was basically fighting in the corner, basically handcuffed. So a lot of stuff that can't be shown, which I don't know why it can't be shown. Stop being a wuss, in my opinion, and show it. Who cares? It's the same television. It was back in 2009. I don't understand why we can't show it. I don't know why. I have no clue. If you guys could put it in the comment section, let me know. So he says a lot has to do with her. Cody then says a lot of people want this student/teacher dynamic. Cody then says that ended when he became a babysitter to make sure that Randy was breathing when he was drooling all over himself. That was a nice line. Cody then says, do you want to bring up fathers? Cody then says, he is not his father, but you aren't your father either. Stephanie then slaps Cody Rhodes, and she says she is out here because she cares about Cody. Stephanie then says no one is giving you guidance in this situation. Stephanie then says you don't know what this Randy Orton needs to be. Stephanie then says you are not the student. Stephanie then says Randy Orton is listening to the voice in his head. Stephanie then says he is beckoning them. Stephanie then says he controls them. Stephanie then says he is listening to someone else as well. Basically, Randy Orton being on the phone. Stephanie says, unless you can think like Randy, you're going to lose that title. Stephanie says that WrestleMania will be the last time Cody Rhodes is introduced as undisputed WWE Champion. Stephanie then starts to leave the ring and Cody stops her. Cody then tells Stephanie that he has 2 words for you. And the crowd says, suck it. But Cody says, thank you, and leaves the ring, and the crowd starts to boo Cody Rhodes. Now, my overall thoughts about that entire segment, just to give you guys the rundown, was I think they did this to make up for what happened last week with that pull apart brawl, that I absolutely ripped it because I thought it was not good, I thought it was trash, and I thought it was horrible what they did last week on SmackDown. But here's my question for this show. Why didn't SmackDown get this instead of Raw? This could have been perfect for SmackDown because SmackDown is 3 hours. SmackDown has nothing besides this match. If I look at the WrestleMania 42 card, as I run it back down again, CM Punk versus Roman Reigns is on Raw. Stephanie Valkyria versus Liv Morgan is Raw. Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton is SmackDown. Jade Cargill and Rhea Ripley is SmackDown. Those are 2 SmackDowns to 2 Raws. Then you have Open Femi and Brock Lesnar. That's Raw. AJ Lee versus Becky Lynch is Raw again. Sami Zayn, Trick Williams is SmackDown. Jacob Fatu, Drew McIntyre is SmackDown. But the Dominic Mysterio versus Finn Balor is Raw. The IC title is Raw. The Irresistible Forces are basically 2 SmackDown teams and 2 Raw teams. And then you have Seth Rollins vs. Gunther, which is Monday Night Raw. So a lot of Monday Night Raw is dominating the WrestleMania card. And you're already on Netflix. You already have CM Punk, Roman Reigns. You already have Stephanie Raquel vs. Liv Morgan. You already have Femi and Brock Lesnar. Why couldn't SmackDown get the rub of Stephanie McMahon popping up on SmackDown and instead of putting her on Netflix? Why does Cody Rhodes have to take up somebody's spot on Monday Night Raw? Do you know who wasn't on Raw tonight? AJ Lee and Becky Lynch. We're supposed to be building towards that match, and they're not even on the show, and we're 3 weeks away from WrestleMania. That makes no sense at all. Now, again, this segment wasn't bad at all. They made up for what they did last week, but why couldn't we get this on SmackDown? Why does Monday Night Raw have to get the segment, a good segment out of Cody Rhodes? This should have been saved for SmackDown, and this goes to show you how the company feels about SmackDown in general. Now, Stephanie McMahon trying to tell Cody Rhodes about Randy Orton, that was a nice touch. I still don't get why. I don't like the one part I did not like and I did not get, and I wish that we would stop doing this, is Stephanie McMahon slapping people. She slapped people because she was a heel. He did not insult her by saying, "You're not like your father either." She basically smacked him, which she should be taking pride in the fact that she's not like her father. So her smacking him didn't make any sense. If she thought it was disrespectful, then that's fine, okay, fine, whatever. But if you're criticizing the booking of this, putting this on Raw is the one mistake that they did. And number 2 is Stephanie smacking Cody Rhodes. She didn't need to do that. And that was the point that people were tired of when she was in the Authority and they were running Monday Night Raw from 2014, 15, 16, almost 2017 when they were running Monday Night Raw, and that was absolutely awful television. So this is my problem with Monday Night Raw. There was no need to have this segment on this show. Could have had it on SmackDown, but again, it was a good segment, but it should have been on SmackDown, where Cody Rhodes is the undisputed WWE Champion, and Stephanie McMahon did not need to smack Cody Rhodes. But we move on from that. We then see Adam Pearce is with I Show Speed, and he needs to talk to him. Danhausen then shows up. Speed then asks to be uncursed. Danhausen then makes an offer to lift the curse. Pearce then says he has a front row seat for him for the tag title match. Pearce then mentions a guest commentator in his LA Knight. Knight then says hello and they walk off, leaving us with Pearce and Danhausen. Pearce is then confused with Danhausen not disappearing, eventually just walking off. I didn't care nothing about this. And the reason why I didn't care nothing about this is because I want to ask everybody a question in the chat, in the comment section. Please put it down below. You know why I hate when celebrities get involved with WrestleMania? Because after WrestleMania is over, these celebrities don't come back and they don't appear on these shows. The only person who does is Jelly Roll, and I'll give him his credit. He's there damn near every week. I Show Speed after WrestleMania is not going to be around. Jelly Roll just pops up on SmackDowns throughout the year that he's been doing since last year. So I don't understand what we're doing. I don't understand I Show Speed. You can say, well, Brandon, you're nitpicking. Okay, fine. But Danhausen, he's been getting over the car again. I don't criticize Danhausen. That's fine. It is what it is. Let him do his thing. But I Show Speed being cursed and taking up TV time of somebody else who might need television time is just stupid to me. No disrespect to Danhausen and I Show Speed, but it just takes up too much TV time that we could give to somebody else and book around and actually tell a story with. We then see the New Day in the background. We see Javon Evans and Kofi Kingston. The Usos make their way down to the ring with a new theme song. I thought it was absolutely garbage. It was absolutely terrible. We get halfway through this match because I didn't really care about this, to be honest. I feel like Logan Paul is basically, you could say he's over, but Austin Theory is still not over. The crowd does not care for Austin Theory at all. Now in this match, towards the end of the match, Logan Paul went to go to his mother to get the brass knuckles. After that, LA Knight is basically grabbing Logan Paul. He's punching Logan Paul. He's punching him and punching him and punching him. And then I Show Speed tries to stop him. He pulls him over the barricade, and then after that, Logan Paul, he takes the brass knuckles and he accidentally, I Show Speed, punches LA Knight and knocks him out. He puts the brass knuckles on the ring, on the apron. He then walks to the back with his hands on his head like, what did he just do? After that, Jimmy then hits a spear kick followed by a stereo super kicks. Then they hit a double spear on Theory, and Jay hits a spear. Jimmy then goes for a suicide dive, but Logan hits him with the brass knuckles. Jay then hits a crossbody off the apron onto Logan. Theory then falls onto Jimmy for the win. The winners of this match are the New York Street Fight and new tag team champions of the division, Austin Theory and the Maverick Logan Paul. After the match, Logan Paul and Austin Theory thank Speed, and Speed says he didn't mean to help them, and they get pyro. I don't understand why they put the belts on the Vision. Well, people say they needed something. No, they did not. They need to split up. Nobody cares about this group. Braun Breaker's out. Bronson Reed is gone. The Vision, you could say, well, they didn't have anything. That's not the point. You're going to have these guys walk into WrestleMania as your tag team champions when the Usos is one of the most over tag teams on this entire show and the most over tag team on SmackDown as well. What is the point of this? This makes absolutely no sense to do this when your most over tag team needs to walk in and have hype with the titles at WrestleMania. Again, you're putting the titles on the division because they really needed it. What about the Usos now? What are they going to do? What are the Usos going to do at WrestleMania now? You're going to run this match back for a third time in 3 and 4 weeks? I don't understand what they're doing at WrestleMania. This is what I keep telling you. There is no story here. What's the story? I don't know. I just don't get it. I don't really care for it to see the Vision win a tag team title, but congratulations to them. They needed it, so it is what it is. We then take a look back at what transpired at the end of Raw last week. Liv Morgan's music then hits, and this is where I kind of roll my eyes because I'm honestly done with the whole Liv Morgan experience and the whole Judgment Day stuff now. Liv Morgan's music hits. She makes her way down to the ring. We then get a shot of the NYC subway station celebrates celebrities in the crowd, including Jeff Ross and Lynn Manuel Miranda. Who gives a damn about these people? Before heading to the back to the ring where Liv Morgan awaits, Liv then grabs a mic and starts off by saying, "You are in the presence of the greatest women's world winner of all time, blah, blah, blah." Liv then says Stephanie Valkyria is done for, BITCH. Liv then says it is one thing to attack her, but to attack her family and to attack Dominic. Liv then says she shouldn't be surprised, but you have no family here. Liv then says she hides behind hers. You sneak attack her. Liv then says you are afraid to meet her face to face. Liv then says you are proud of where you come from, but this is where she comes from. Liv then says her mother taught her to never let anyone get the better of her. Liv then says your mother. Liv then insults Stephanie's mother and tells her to come out. Pyro then goes off with Stephanie Valkyria's music, and she makes her way down to the ring. Liv then attacks Stephanie Valkyria, and she enters the ring. Liv hits some punches. Valkyria then hits some punches for her own. Valkyria then hits a back heel kick to the temple. Valkyria then gets a chair and brings it to the ring. Roxanne Perez then comes out and attacks Valkyria from behind, and she hits some windmill punches which look absolutely awful. Those punches look absolutely terrible. And this is what I keep saying. Kairi Sane, Roxanne Perez, and a lot of these women, their punches look absolutely terrible. They look terrible, and it makes wrestling look bad because it looks like, man, you guys don't know how to throw a punch. This was absolutely terrible. After that, Liv Morgan basically hit Oblivion. I'm not going to continue to keep reading the rest of it. They're attacking her. She hits Oblivion and steel chair, and that's it. This segment, to me, didn't do anything for the WrestleMania build. And by the way, I knew this was set up. And as soon as she said, you are hide behind my family, I knew someone was coming out. Now, they said Roxanne Perez was backstage, but I thought it was going to be Raquel Rodriguez. Again, who cares about this? At WrestleMania, by the way, Stephanie Valkyria needs to retain the title. Liv Morgan doesn't need the belt again. She does not need to win the belt again. We then take a look back at the situation between Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman. We then see Logan Paul, Austin Theory, and Andre Speed in the back. Speed says he didn't mean to get involved. Logan said it doesn't matter, but he has an enemy. Speed then says he cannot do it. Paul then shows up and tells Speed he is in good hands. Heyman then says they will protect him, and he tells them to take Speed to dinner. Heyman then says the Usos will kill him, basically talking about I Show Speed. Pierce then shows up and asks Heyman if he checks his email. Heyman then tells him to print it out and give it to him before walking off. Lyra and Lyra Valkyria then make their way down to the ring for the next match of the night, and the Irresistible forces follow. We then take a look back at SmackDown where the champions and challengers get involved. It's a business involving Charlotte Flair, Bliss, and the Bálor twins. We head back to ringside as this match gets underway. This match basically ended in a disqualification, and I knew they were going to do this. I knew that there was going to be no title change. It was a sloppy match. Nobody cared about this. The Bálor twins came out, followed by Charlotte Flair and Bliss, and then after that, they're out there all arguing. Lyra Valkyria gets out the ring, and they all start fighting. At the end of the day, this match ended in a DQ. And I could not care about this anymore. I told you guys that for months now, that this is going, the past month, that this is going to be a fatal 4-way match for the tag team titles. My only problem with this match is, why is Lyra Valkyria and Bayley in this? Where is Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez? Why are they not in this match? You've been pushing Raquel Rodriguez. She's big enough to be in this match to match up with Last Legend and Charlotte Flair. Why would you not have them in this match? Roxanne Perez can match up with Bliss. She can match up with the Bella Twins, why would you not put the Judgment Day in the match? Now the Judgment Day is going to potentially miss WrestleMania. Why would you not put the Kabuki Warriors in this match? I mean, I know you can't do it because technically the Bella Twins are basically taking their spot, which before the Bella Twins came back, that's what I said it was probably going to be. It was going to be a Fatal 4-Way match, and it should have been the Kabuki Warriors. But fine. The Bella Twins should win the titles at WrestleMania. Give them their moment for the Divas Revolution and doing everything else fine. I have no problem with the Bella Twins, by the way. I just think that they should just get their victory at WrestleMania, win the titles. That is to give them their final bow, and they lose the belts at SummerSlam, or they lose it before that, and then they graciously bow out. That's really pretty much it for this segment. To me, Charlotte Flair and Bliss have really done good work this year, especially Bliss getting Charlotte Flair over to be a babyface, and to see them in this match, to see Charlotte Flair go from contending and being in a WWE Women's Championship match to now being in a tag team title match at WrestleMania kind of seems lackluster for Charlotte. I think Bliss should be in a match at WrestleMania for the Women's United States Championship. I thought that would be better. I told you guys it should have been Io Sky, but this company just doesn't know how to book. By the way, these women's segments, these Fatal 4-Way for the women's tag team titles, they better hope this match better not be sloppy at WrestleMania, because what they've been producing and giving us has been absolute slop. And there's no respect. I'm not calling them out because they're women. I'm simply calling out because it's true. It's been sloppy. After the match, Flair sends Bliss into Nia and Bayley and Lyra take care of Lash. Bayley and Lyra then finally realize these 4 women blew their chance at the titles, and they yell at Bliss, Charlotte, Nikki, and Brie. It is what it is. We then get a video package of Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. Danhausen makes his way out to the ring to make an announcement. Danhausen says that WWE will be back at Madison Garden July 18th at Saturday's main event. Danhausen will also be there to shoot off some t-shirts. Fine. Paul Heyman's music hits. He makes his way out to the ring with WWE Hall of Famer. Brock Lesnar music hits. After that, commentary then talks about Brock Lesnar match against Obafemi at WrestleMania 42 as he enters the ring with Paul Heyman. Heyman now has the microphone and a crowd chants for Obafemi. I am not reading Paul Heyman's entire promo. Basically, Brock Lesnar, at the end of this promo, Brock Lesnar grabbed the microphone and said, Obafemi, get your ass out here and let's fight. Adam Pearce then makes his way out to the ring. He tells Heyman and Brock that it won't be happening tonight. Adam Pearce then says his job is to preserve his main events at WrestleMania, and that that is what he's going to do. Adam then says, with all due respect, it will not be happening. All due respect to the crowd. I've been telling you guys, I've been over Adam Pearce and this shtick with him. I'm tired of it. Adam Pearce then asks Heyman and Brock to leave the ring. The lights go on. Obafemi is making his way down to the ring. I'm going to criticize this in one moment. Security then charges at Obafemi, and this is where I kind of lose my mind, because Adam Pearce brought security out. This is my problem with WWE. They continuously keep using security so much that it gets annoying. They did it in the Roman Reigns segment too, which pissed me clean off. They do this all the time, and it's just an annoyance. Every time they bring security out when it comes to these big guys, we all know they're going to get their asses whooped. And this is what happened. I'm tired personally of seeing security guard come out. It's the same thing of these guys going through the table. This is absolutely dumb and it's stupid, and I'm so sick of it. It is nauseating continuously seeing security guards come out every single week with the same thing. It's the same repetitive garbage that we get. Obafemi then takes out all of the security guards. He struts around the ring and making Brock Lesnar wait. They get in the ring. Now, here's my problem again. If Brock Lesnar is such a beast, and this is what is making me upset with Brock Lesnar, he's not getting his comeuppance off of Obafemi. If you're the heel and you want to put over the babyface, you let the heel beat down the babyface. Not too much, because Obafemi is a big dude, so you're not going to be able to sell it that way. The problem with this is that Brock Lesnar has not gotten his comeuppance off of Obafemi before WrestleMania. We are 2 weeks or 3 weeks out, and Brock Lesnar is still backing down. And by the way, if Brock Lesnar was so angry, and this is what I hate about WWE, if Brock Lesnar is so angry, why didn't he just get out the ring? Why did he wait for Obafemi to do his goddamn strut around the ring? Why didn't he just get out there and whoop his ass? That doesn't make any sense. There is no invisible barrier. And I'm going to go back to what Cody Rhodes said at AEW on the first show. During the Inner Circle, him and Chris Jericho and all those guys are feuding, and he says, hey, listen, this is not WWE. There is me. You know we can come up there, right? And they all went out into the crowd and started fighting Chris Jericho and his Inner Circle. That was great. There is no invisible force field here. Brock Lesnar should have went out there and they should have fought and brawled until we got a pull-apart brawl, this time with actual superstars in the back instead of just some lame-ass security. So they could completely messed this up by having it this way. They should have let these guys fight and brawl, but that's the same thing they do every single week, let them fight. So basically there's no point in letting them fight because they do it every single other storyline, so that I know they're not going to have them do it this time. So again, this is a lose-lose situation for the company. Having Brock Lesnar call out Obafemi and not doing anything. Then after all of this happens, he pushes Adam Pearce down. Triple H enters the ring to booze, and he comes in and he separates Brock Lesnar and Obafemi. Triple H is basically telling Paul Heyman to control Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar then gets out of the ring, which infuriates me. After it infuriates me, he grabs the steel steps, look like he's going to flinch, and he throws the steel steps down. It just walks away. And he says, "This is not the last you see me," whatever the case may be. Brock then F5s a security guard that's laying down. Brock then shows Obafemi that he will beat the crap out of security and gives the security guard again an F5. At the end of the day, the crowd was hyped. New York was going crazy for this segment. It wasn't a bad segment. It was just layers of this segment that didn't make any sense. If Brock Lesnar, again, I'm going to repeat myself, if he's so mad, why didn't he go out there and fight? There is no invisible force barrier. And then after that, Obafemi, Triple H is holding him back, but I know Triple H can't take any contact. But if I'm Obafemi, I powerbomb the hell out of Triple H. Don't put Triple H in that predicament if he can't take physical contact. Now, I know you're going to say, well, Triple H is the main guy. He's the boss. So when he comes out, everything has to be shut down. I get it. But you got to make one of these guys look strong. You make Brock Lesnar look weak when he's basically backpedaling out of there. If he really wants to fight Obafemi, it doesn't matter. We're still going to see each other at WrestleMania. But now we got to get it on. That's what made Brock Lesnar not look good in this. And it made Obafemi don't look good because he's strutting out there. And Michael Cole in commentary, he's doing that. There's only one person that can do that. No, he's strutting out there and make Brock Lesnar look like an idiot because he can't jump out the ring and beat him up. And he's saying, he's doing that to taunt Brock Lesnar. No, that's stupid. That's very, very stupid and it's dumb. So after that, it was a decent segment, but there's certain things to nitpick about it. After that, we did get a video package looking at Finn Balor's journey away from the Judgment Day as he calls out Dominic Mysterio. And I had another problem with this, which we'll get to. Finn Balor says the Judgment Day was the family that ran Raw for 4 years. Finn says he did things that he did not like. Finn says the worst decision was thinking he could make Dominic a man. Finn says you ran the playbook. Finn says when you were lost, he was the one you turned to. Finn says he stood up for Dominic. Finn says you didn't lose the title because of him. Finn says you lost because you are a self-entitled jackass. Finn says he's responsible for that jackass. Finn says he is not responsible for destroying him at WrestleMania. And this is where my problem again lies. Where's Dominic Mysterio and why is Finn Balor cutting promos when they should be on the show? Where's the story? This is exactly why I said at the beginning of this review that the IC title should have never been taken off of Dominic Mysterio because this feud needs it. Well, the feud doesn't need the belt. Yes, it does. This feud needs it because it entices Finn Balor to bring back the demon, in which we don't know if he's going to bring it back or not. And if he doesn't, it'll be disappointment. But with the IC title, it makes it a real possibility. For the life of me, I don't understand why they did this. They completely messed up their own booking. It makes no sense. Did I care about this backstage promo about Finn Balor? No, I didn't. And why didn't I? Because who gives a damn about this feud now? I don't care about it. We've been all these months caring about it. The IC title was in the picture. Now it's not in the picture. Jada McDonough is in the IC title match and the ladder match. Finn Balor is cutting a promo. And Dominic Mysterio is not even on the show. Whatever. Penta makes his way down to the ring. He faces Kofi Kingston. He hit a Mexican Destroyer on Grayson Waller when he's out there because during the entire match, Kofi Kingston is telling Grayson Waller, leave him alone, and I won, I got it, blah, blah, blah. So he says, hey, I know you need me now. He's looking down at him. He hits him with a Destroyer. After that, he puts Kofi Kingston in the win, hits him with a Destroyer for the win. After the match, because I didn't really care about this match at all, after this match, the winner and still Intercontinental champion was Penta. After the match, Jackie Redmond interviews Penta, and this one I put the TV on mute because I'm tired of Penta being interviewed after every single match. I'm tired of it. It's the same thing every single week. He's good. I love Penta. You know who I love Penta with? I love Penta with Rey Fenix, and I love the Lucha Brothers. So after the match, Jackie Redmond interviews Penta. Jackie asks Penta about WrestleMania, and Penta says anyone who dares challenge him, it is done. Penta then says at WrestleMania he will defend his title in the ladder match. Penta then says this is his kingdom. I cared nothing about this. We then see Paul Heyman on the phone making a food order. Adam Pearce shows up. Pearson asks, where is Brock Lesnar? Paul Heyman says that Brock Lesnar has left. Pearce then asks about the email he sent. Paul then says he doesn't do emails. He then says they keep their ear to the ground. Pearce then asks if Paul smelled anything interesting today. Excuse me. Paul then says he smells a corporate general manager. He then says, wait until you hear what he has to say in the ring. Dominic Mysterio makes his way onto the stage. Dominic says he will be standing here still as your Intercontinental Champion. Dominic then says thanks to Finn Bálor, not once but twice, he cost an opportunity to get his title back. Dominic then says at WrestleMania there will be one man standing. Dominic then says it will be him. I didn't see this on the show, unless I missed it, which I watched the whole show. This must have been during commercial break. So forgive me if this was on the actual show, if I was maybe distracted by something, but I didn't see Dominic Mysterio. This must have been during commercial break. The same thing with Danhausen. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I do apologize. Paul Heyman is back in the ring now again. He says before he was so rudely interrupted, Paul then insults the lighting job. He then mentions the new tag champions division. Paul says he's tried to do something special for you all. He then says he tried to give back to the community. Paul then says he tried to give you tonight Brock Lesnar versus Open Fenby. Paul then says the wannabe mid-level suck-up, middle management, pseudo general manager. And Pearson interrupts and he says he was trying to help Paul. He then asks Paul if he checked his email today. Paul then says he sees the future, whether it is hacking your emails, listening in on the phone calls he isn't supposed to know. Pierce then tells Paul that the Boston police have dropped all charges against Seth Rollins. Paul then says that if he's supposed to be afraid because he lives in his hometown, he says he fears no man. Paul then says he is the last manager standing from the 1980s. Paul then says he is the last promoter standing from the 1990s. Pierce then says Paul knows that Seth Rollins in the email, he sent him that he is medically cleared. Paul then looks with a dread on his face. Seth Rollins' music hits. He appears on the apron behind Paul. Paul knows he's in trouble, and Seth Rollins hits Paul Heyman in the back with the chair again. Seth then sets up for a blackout. Gunther then makes his way out to the ring and applies a sleeper, and Seth passes out against the announce desk. Gunther then points to WrestleMania sign by holding Seth Rollins' head, letting him know that what he has in store for him. Gunther's music then hits, and he walks away. Now, my overall thoughts about this again was I didn't care anything about this. Here's why. Why is Gunther doing this? Did Paul Heyman set him up to it? We're probably going to find out next week, which, again, Braun Breaker is not clear. People who are saying, oh, Braun Breaker was showing up today and walking with his suitcase, that looked nothing like Braun Breaker. It looked nothing like his frame. It looked like somebody else. And if it was Braun Breaker, which again it wasn't, why would they do that publicly? They did that to troll you guys because they knew you guys who were standing outside were going to have cameras. Again, now back to Gunther and Seth Rollins. This makes no sense. Seth Rollins should have just missed WrestleMania, but I know being Seth Rollins, he doesn't want to miss WrestleMania. Gunther, this is a far from grace from retiring John Cena and AJ Styles. This makes no sense. This feud makes no sense. Next week we're going to get an explanation about how Paul Heyman really set this up after he couldn't get Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed. Again, this is very lazy. That means that the company chose it at the last minute because Braun Breaker couldn't not get cleared. And if I'm Braun Breaker, I'm not getting cleared. WrestleMania, I'll see you next year. I'm going to get healthy and we could do Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker at SummerSlam and finally put an end to this foolishness that is division. Again, who cares about this? I don't care about Gunther anymore. They completely squashed Gunther's character, and by him being in Paul Heyman's corner, which, again, I don't get this. This is just dumb as hell. You could tell this is filler at WrestleMania. We didn't get a recap what happened with Raquel Rodriguez and makes her way down to the ring for the main event of the night. Io Sky follows. This entire show is absolutely boring. Raquel Rodriguez won this match with a Tejada Bomb. Io Sky and Kairi Sane on the aprons together. The Kabuki Warriors came out after that. She hit a big boot on Kairi Sane. They went back and forth. Raquel Rodriguez hit the Tejada Bomb on Io Sky. I didn't care nothing about this match. The crowd didn't care. The crowd was absolutely bored. They were barely cheering. Io Sky kept trying to pump the crowd up, and nothing came of it. To see the fall from grace, and what I mean by fall from grace is you're walking into back-to-back WrestleManias. WrestleMania 40 and 41 as WWE Women's Champion, as WWE Women's World Champion, and this year's WrestleMania, we have nothing for her. This is why I said she should have went to SmackDown and faced Julia for the Women's United States Championship. That would have been better. Tiffany Stratton, no disrespect to Tiffany Stratton, but she doesn't deserve a WrestleMania moment this year. She had an entire title run. She had a title run last year. She got hurt, and after that, she has not been looking good since she's been back. It should have been Io Sky versus Julia at WrestleMania for the Women's United States Championship. Does the Kabuki Warriors need to be on WrestleMania? No, they don't. because the Bella Twins basically took their place. But do they need to be on WrestleMania? Absolutely not. Raquel Rodriguez looks like they're not going to be on the show either. Again, who cares about any of this? I sure don't. It is then announced the match again for the ladder match. We'll see Javon Evans versus Dragon Lee versus Rusev versus JD McDonough with Penta. It is also announced that Finn Balor versus Dominic Mysterio is official, and there will be a fatal 4-way match for the women's WWE Tag Team titles. We all knew this was going to happen. And by the way, again, Javon Evans, Dragon Lee, Rusev, and JD McDonough. I like Javon Evans. I told you guys how much I love him. I don't care to see none of these guys at WrestleMania. It is announced that John Cena is going to be host of WrestleMania. By the way, John Cena being the name the host of WrestleMania is just for tickets. People saying, well, what's the matter with that? The problem with that is that you're overpricing the tickets too much anyway. That's the problem. We then get a Vic Joseph is now in an interview with Javon Evans as he's challenged for the title. Evans freaks out and he's going to WrestleMania. Vic then asks Javon what would his grandmother think of Evans going to WrestleMania. Javon Evans then says he would tell him to have fun and be safe. He then says he needs to absorb that knowledge. I don't know why we got this, but it is what it is. We didn't see Jackie Redmond waiting to talk to Seth Rollins, and she stops Adam Pearce, which he did a horrible job acting like Jackie Redmond wasn't there. For an update, Pearson says Seth Rollins is pissed off, but he is cleared. Pearson says the match is official for WrestleMania between Seth Rollins and Gunther. This makes no sense again. After that, we then get Roman Reigns music hits. He comes out and says, New York City, acknowledge me, the same SHIT we get every single week. After that, CM Punk's music then hits and interrupts. He makes his way down to the ring, and he is ready for a fight. Roman and Punk then exchange punches. Punk then hits some punches, and Roman Reigns hits a flying body block. Punk then sends Roman over the top rope onto the floor. Punk then sends Roman into the announce desk, and Punk hits a jab. Officials come out, and this is where I say it's the same thing every single week, man. It's depressing at this point. The officials come out. They come out while Roman is sent to the ring, into the ring post. Punk then pulls off the hood of the announce desk. Roman then punches Punk. He sits up for a powerbomb, but Roman Reigns goes after the officials. Then they stop Roman Reigns from hitting a powerbomb. Then they stop Punk from giving Roman a GTS. Roman then goes for a spear, but he misses, and he hits Petey Williams with a spear. Punk then hits a GTS. Punk then takes a second to survey the situation, and he says he is okay, but that is a ruse because he punches Roman some more. Punk then goes for a powerbomb through a table, and officials are not going to stop this one as Roman goes to the table. Punk then sits down next to Roman Reigns, and he serenades Roman Reigns, you know the whole shtick that the crowd does. While punching him, Punk then stands tall over the barricade and celebrates with the fans as the show comes to a absolute close. Again, I felt absolutely nothing with this show tonight. Besides the first segment between Cody Rhodes and Seth McMahon, the reason I criticized that again, it should have been on SmackDown. But this entire show for the second hour, besides Brock Lesnar and Obafemi, even though I did criticize it, I did like the segment, I just criticized how you had Brock Lesnar looking. So it was 50-50. But this entire show, again, I'll give it a C-. Was it their best show for the past couple weeks? Yes, it was. Was it great? No. Was it horrible? No. Was it decent? Yes. A nice C- to go along with it. Again, this WrestleMania season has a stacked card match-wise, but when it comes to the stories, it lacks a lot. Again, one more time, CM Punk vs. Roman Reigns. I'm out on this match. I'm out. I'm out on this match. Stephanie Valkyria vs. Liv Morgan. I'm out on this match. Jade Cargill vs. Rhea Ripley. I'm out. AJ Lee vs. Becky Lynch. I'm out on it. Sami Zayn. Oh my goodness. Don't get me started. Trick Williams. I'm out. Jacob Fatu and Drew McIntyre. I could care less. Penta. I hate this match for the IC title. The Irresistible Forces. I want to see the Bella Twins get their comeuppance, but I'm truly out on the match because it's going to be sloppy. Seth Rollins vs. Gunther. Who cares? It was just thrown together. The only two matches I really want to see is Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton and Obafemi versus Brock Lesnar. That's it. It's 12 matches. I think it has to be 2 more matches have to be announced for WrestleMania. And these 12 matches so far, out of all 12 of them, 10 of them, I don't care about. I just don't. And I'm being very, very honest. I come on here, I don't sugarcoat anything. I don't care nothing about it. I simply don't care about these matches on WrestleMania. The match card looks good. The storylines are absolutely a joke. So let me know how you guys felt about this entire show. Let me know how you guys felt about my review. If you guys felt like I was being too harsh on the show, I gave it a C-. But let me know your thoughts and opinions about Monday Night Raw tonight. Was it a good Monday Night Raw? Was it decent? Just let me know your feelings. Please participate. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Watch the videos all the way through. If you're using the bathroom, TMI. If you're using the bathroom, you're doing dishes, you're up late night doing work, and you just want something to listen to, you can throw my review on, and I would truly appreciate that. So again, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more great content headed your way. Until next time, guys, see you real soon.